What was it like growing up with a famous father? I mean, one of the most famous people in Iceland at the time, and obviously famous in Belgium as a top striker.
It was fairly easy, I must admit. I really enjoyed the fact that my father was a footballer. I went to almost every game possible. Flew all around Europe when it was possible for me to go. So I've got a lot of good memories from my childhood. Obviously, the only thing I'd say is constantly as you're growing up, having a question mark over your head if you're going to be as good as your father.
Did that bother you?
No, it didn't at the time, because I think my parents were very aware of that situation and always warned me or seemed to treat me in a way where it was enough for me to hear from my father that he thought I was the best, and that was enough for me. I didn't care if I heard anyone else say that. And to be honest, it didn't last that long, because I remember my father doing an interview, and there was always a time where it was Arno Gudjonsson. You know, he's the father of. I was always his son until a certain age. All of a sudden, he was the father of Eidur Gudjonsson. So that helped me a lot when people sort of recognised, yeah, two different players, but they saw my qualities as well.
What were you like at school as a footballer? Were you the best in the country?
Well, I think at my age, yeah, I was probably one of the better ones. School was very easy for me as a kid. I had no trouble with anything at school. No difficulties learning or anything like that. I was just couldn't be bothered with school. Didn't interest me. Couldn't keep my attention, and I'd jump at every opportunity to play football or just be outside.
So has that affected you as you've grown up, not necessarily having that schooling?
No, I think because you mature in different ways. I move abroad when I'm 16. I spend a lot of time on my own in Holland, and you learn to deal with different situations. I think to some degree you mature quicker, and maybe on other things you have to catch up a little bit. I call it the school of life. Is probably the best one to go to, and as long as you try and learn from your mistakes, that's it'll all be positive in the end.
How hard has the school of life been in London? Because obviously you hit headlines a couple of times when you wouldn't have wanted to, with the Heathrow so-called incident after 9/11.
Yes, I think yeah, it's something that I've put behind me. I'm growing up, and it was a bad experience, and it's difficult to go through, especially when you hit the media with something. But as I say,
I think it's right to say with the 9/11 incident that you weren't even there.
Well, that's another thing. I don't want to be crawling back now and say I wasn't there, but the fact is that to a certain degree that I wasn't really involved. But it's I think it's a part of growing up, and I'll just try and make sure that I grab the headlines for different reasons, and that's it really.
What about the gambling? Was that something that was just...
No, it's I don't know. It was a bad period for me. I was on my own for a while in London. I was injured, and I think at the time I was looking maybe for some adrenaline, but I must say that the way it came out in the papers was nowhere near the way I wanted to express it, or for it to come out. It was all exaggerated beyond anything, but that's just something you deal with. We all know what the papers in England are like. They like to dramatise and exaggerate a little bit.